Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another 6.5 Creedmoor with the Begara B14. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, well, what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about a pretty plain Jane vanilla Begara B14. These are on the lower end. They're probably not as low as the Ruger and the Savages, maybe just a tier up from that, on par perhaps with a Tikka type action type system, but it's a Remington 700 clone. Today we're going to be taking a look at what we have going for it today. I did put on my Greyboe stock. I had this, you saw it perhaps on videos when I did the FX7, and this is really why I have this 6.5 Creedmoor now, is because I had this really nice stock and I had a really nice TriggerTech trigger. Now these are on the Begara B14. And the reason that I went with the Begara is because it is a Remington 700 clone. The FX7 from Faxon is also a Remington 700 clone. And since that rifle didn't really work out for me, I've now got it set up and using all the same trigger and stock for it. So pretty excited about that. I don't know that you absolutely have to make those changes, but I do know a good stock can make a difference. You can be a lot more comfortable in how it fits you. For example, this has an adjustable cheek riser. It's just, a little bit more ergonomic on how it will fit me and my body. You can have a little bit more adjustments in terms of how long the stock is, so on and so forth. And then the TriggerTech trigger is just a very crisp single stage trigger. Also with the change, instead of having a magazine that's built into the gun, a non-detachable magazine, I now have ACS pattern magazines that are detachable for the 6.5 Creedmoor that fit in here. So I swapped out the handguard and put on a metal handguard for it that I also had for the Faxon FX7. So today we're just gonna see how it shoots with this setup, if we get any better. We still only have like, what, about 20 rounds on this rifle, so it's not much. It's still kind of breaking in my opinion. So we're gonna continue to break it in. I do have my Dead Air Nomad LT suppressor over here. We'll probably put on the end of it. So yeah, so we'll just get some rounds down range on it, see how it performs with this new setup. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. All right, well, got some of these 147 grain ELDX. We'll see how it shoots with the Greyboe stock. Take the safety off.
Safety is on.
Always good. A little bit jumping around there. And I already loaded up the magazine. I have to go down and see what that's looking like. All right, well, it seems to be functioning well. I'm kind of happy about that. You just never know when you're making, oh, whoops, see, got ahead of myself. Trying to put too many rounds in there. You always never know when you make changes. You want to make sure that the gun works after you make some changes on it, so. Yeah, all right, it's loaded in now. Okay, let's go down range. See what we got. Okay, this is the 6.5 Creedmoor. These are the 5 shots. That's actually pretty good. Things are starting to tighten up just a little bit on there. Not bad for a 5-shot group. Just over 1 MOA. That's not bad. Okay, well, we have the suppressor on, and let's shoot a 5-shot group with the suppressor. Let's see where the point of impact, point of aim, point of impact shifts. We were pretty on target. Let's see what happens now that we got the suppressor on and what happens from there. A couple of points I didn't mention about the Greyboe stock. It's got a couple of QD attachment points for slings. That's kind of another nice accoutrement. It's, again, just very ergonomic type stock setup. And that's one of the reasons why you might want to do that, is just kind of getting it fit for you, right? And how you like to get your rifle set up. Okay, here we go. Well, I hope I'm on target. I hope it didn't shift way left or something. Again, it's getting dark out here, so we're starting to not see where it is. So we'll just shoot the 5 shots and hope that they're hitting somewhere on paper. Okay, that was our last shot. Why don't we go down and check things out? Well, that is kind of crazy. So here's where I was aiming, and I had pretty good aim. Everything was lined up with the 6.5 Creedmoor. Everything was shooting well. I added the suppressor and I aimed here. Let's see where it hit. Nothing on paper. Nothing on paper. What the heck is going on? What the heck? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. There's no way the point of aim, point of impact should be 2 feet. Okay, well, let's take a look at this mounting up on the Begara. I think I have the wrong muzzle brake on there. You can still see threads, and I cannot get this on any tighter. And that point of impact shift was absolutely insane. So I am going to change that brake out that I have on there. It's a super long one. And I'm going to replace it with a shorter one like what I have on my 7PRCW. I think that that brake is too long for this suppressor. And I think it's hitting the baffles. I think the brake is long enough that it's getting into the baffles. That's a theory that I have. I've noticed that on PCCs and some types of suppressors. So we're going to make a change there. We'll try to get back to you on this one. Okay, well, before we wrap things up, I just want to go over what I actually did. I didn't really notice it, candidly, for almost a week or two after shooting this video. I was not getting the can tightened all the way to the end of these threads on this thread adapter or on this muzzle brake adapter. So what this is a Reardon Plan B brake, and then it has threads down here to fit a Atlas or Plan B suppressor mount. And I could have sworn I tested it before I shot it. Obviously I didn't, because when you screw the suppressor on to the previous muzzle brake, that was a 2-port, this is a single port that you'll see here now. This is the correct one for it. It wouldn't screw all the way on. It was hitting the end of the muzzle brake. And that was causing so that it couldn't go and be seated, the suppressor couldn't be seated all the way on over the brake. And what that meant was that it wasn't aligned properly. And so in that shot that you didn't see on paper, I later found out that it actually hit the end of my cap of my suppressor. Fortunately, I did not hit any of my suppressor baffles, which would have meant I would have had to send it back and do a warranty repair with it. But fortunately, that didn't happen. Just replacing the end cap is pretty easy, and that has already been done. I'll throw up a picture here of what that struck cap looked like. But what had actually happened, it hit that cap, and then it actually hit my tripod downrange, even though I didn't really see a big shake in the tripod when I shot, but it did. There's a small hit to my tripod, and now I can't collapse it all the way, or actually now I can't open it all the way. And so, yeah, lesson learned yet again. Make sure you use a alignment rod. What is an alignment rod? An alignment rod is a straight steel rod that you put in to make sure that, and again, this is 6.5 millimeters. So you put this alignment in, and you make sure, and you put it into your barrel, and you make sure that the alignment rod isn't touching your muzzle brake. And then you also make sure that it isn't touching any of the sides of your suppressor. That verifies alignment. And every time you put on a suppressor with a new muzzle brake or muzzle adapter, when you're adapting between the threads, you got to make sure that it's done right. Now, what's ironic is then when I went to do the right one, I had a hard time getting this on properly. And what I found was this needed a pretty big shim in order to get it back up onto the threads. Once I did that, I was able to get this aligned properly so that the alignment rod wasn't knocking into the side of the suppressor. and then now it fits and has great alignment. Ironically, when I was doing that, I put on too tight a grip in my vice grip, and I marred up my rifle, my nice, very nice Greyboe stock. But I did a little paint job, and I think it turned out okay. I don't think you would know of whether or not this was on purpose or not on purpose. So let me know what you guys think. Well, that's kind of my stupidity. I think we're still breaking in this rifle. I think that the rifle is going to be great. So far, what we're seeing is it's doing right. It's doing right around an inch or so MOA, a little bit over that. Again, not a problem. We're still at most, right, we're not even probably 30 rounds into the shooting on this rifle. So we have a ways to go for breaking it in and seeing what it really can do. And then we'll load up some hand loads and see what we really can do when we get the overall length right and all of those things for this rifle and customize that load for this rifle. So, all right, well, let me know what you think. Do you have any horror stories? I had a horror story a long time ago with a suppressor on my 4570. I'll put a link to that video as well, where I actually did get a massive baffle strike where I yet again did not test my alignment rod. You'd think at one point or another I would learn to do it all the time. I try to. Every time I put on a adapter, a muzzle brake suppressor adapter, I test the suppressor to make sure that it's all aligned. I must have just put on the muzzle brake and never tested the actual suppressor on it, which is just stupid of me. I'm not sure what it was, but in this case, it ended happily, and we are back onto the road to doing well, minus a leg of my tripod and minus a little bit of marring on my rifle. So let me know what you guys think. The Begara B14, good or bad? Put in the comments below. All the silly words you want to call me for screwing this up, I deserve it this time. All right, folks, hope everyone has a great week. Let's get shooting.
Pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Reviewing each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment